Hello, Helldivers, and welcome to your latest mandatory viewing from the Super Earth Equipment Testing Division. The Festival of Reckoning has just come to a close, and the major order as of this report is to eliminate as many Illuminate Harvesters and Voteless, while defending against as many incursions as possible. As such, we have deployed our operatives to the planet Gemma in order to assist with this task. This report will cover a loadout including DP-11 Champion of the People Armor, the PLAS-39 Accelerator Rifle, the P-19 Redeemer Submachine Gun, and the G-6 Fragmentation Grenade. In the way of stratagems, our operatives were equipped with a cache of EAT-17 expendable anti-tank rifles, strafing runs from their Eagles, FX-12 shield generator relays, and the AX Guard Dog in the LAS-5 Rover configuration. Now let us turn to our new super intern for a full statistical rundown of this arsenal.
Hi there, let's start with the rifle. The Accelerator Rifle is the first sniper rifle in the Helldiver arsenal. It's an energy-based weapon which fires a low recoil 3-round burst after a short charging period. Since it is currently our only sniper, I'll be using the Marksman rifles as the closest point of comparison. It has a sizable damage rating of up to 350, placing it a cut above the Constitution and Diligence variants from a raw power standpoint. That, combined with its explosive and medium armor penetration capabilities, should make it an asset on the battlefield. It also has significantly less kick than the Marksman rifles, with a recoil rating of just 3. The major drawback is the ammo capacity, as you only get 3 bursts per magazine, meaning you'll have to reload more than often. Another quirk to be aware of is that due to what may be a manufacturing error, the magazine must be loaded and the weapon primed in one smooth motion without interruption. So don't go throwing grenades in the middle of a reload unless you really have to. This rifle's only customization option at the moment is a variable zoom scope, sighted for ranges of up to 50 to 200 meters. The sidearm for this loadout is the Redeemer. It's a small, rapid-fire SMG with light armor penetration and a capacity of 31 9x20mm rounds. It's my personal favorite when dealing with crowd control. The only currently available sidearm for any real comparison is the Dagger, with both producing a consistent stream of damage and a lightweight package. The primary differences are that the Redeemer has recoil, making it most effective when used in close-quarter combat, while also chewing through ammo at an alarming rate, making it best suited for panic situations. Not that the Helldivers ever get panicked, though. Anyways, onto the frag grenade. I've heard a lot of Helldivers get a little confused when looking at this weapon when compared to its counterpart, the high explosive grenade. On paper, the frag has a lower damage and armor penetration rating, with only a larger blast radius to make it worthwhile. This isn't actually the case though. While the HE is designed to deal damage mostly from the blast, making it well suited for heavier targets, the frag is well designed to fragment. This sends out shards of shrapnel in all directions, which are great at ripping through unarmored enemies like the Voteless and Termitid Scavengers, those disgusting bugs. The last thing I would like to talk about is armor. Specifically, the Champion of the People set. It has the standard rating as most medium armor sets, but it's loaded up with special tech which has been codenamed Democracy Protects. This is life-saving stuff. The interior chest padding is coated with a special clotting agent which quickly staunches bleeding from major chest wounds. The more experimental feature, however, is a special set of emergency stims which are designed to auto-inject if a Helldiver flatlines. Unfortunately, this is not super consistent right now, so anyone wearing this armor shouldn't feel immortal by any means. Chief. That's all I had. That's all I got. We good? Okay, we're good.
Turning now to data compiled by our surviving Helldiver operatives throughout 6 missions on Gemma. The portion of this loadout we were most curious to test was the Accelerator Rifle. This weapon was only recently added to our arsenal as part of the Science Council's deal with Stahl Arms, and its powerful 3-round bursts proved highly useful against Watchers and Overseers, somewhat consistently destroying the former with 1 burst and the latter with 2. We would greatly recommend that Helldivers utilize the scope on this weapon while firing to improve their accuracy. This rifle unfortunately performs poorly against Voteless, however, and effectiveness was middling against Harvesters. The charge-up time and ability to only fire 3 bursts per magazine prior to a lengthy reload process do not make this weapon at all suited for managing hordes. This has led our analysts to theorize this weapon would prove immensely useful against the automatons in comparison. Plans are being made to test this in the future. The Redeemer proved indispensable in cases where operatives got into close quarters with the Voteless. Its high fire rate proved to be a double-edged sword, however, as it quickly tears through enemies of democracy, but it runs out of ammunition quickly. Thankfully, most of our operatives found reloading this weapon quick and easy, and the ability to fire the Redeemer with one hand is quite useful for tactical retreats. Also useful in this regard was the Rover. Our operatives expressed the feeling that without this tactical asset, they likely would not have been able to survive a majority of encounters using their primary and secondary weapons. The constant beam had decent effectiveness against Voteless, allowing Helldivers to reload and retreat, or to focus on higher value targets using their Accelerator Rifle. The primary downside, however, of this beam was that whenever the drone repositioned, it risked injuring our operatives as well as fellow Helldivers. Mercifully, a majority of this damage was absorbed by Helldivers' armor, and it was not recorded accidentally dispatching improper targets during this test. Another useful item in our operatives' arsenal was the Fragmentation Grenade. The explosion itself and the accompanying shrapnel easily tear through Voteless hordes and can even dispatch of Overseers caught close to the blast. Unfortunately, our operatives found that they were given a number of grenades which had clearly been tampered with by enemies of freedom, as they would frequently fail to detonate with enough force to destroy warp ships, even when thrown directly inside. Slightly more reliable for handling warp ships were the expendable anti-tank rifles. The quick cooldown time for these weapons proved helpful when needed, but Helldivers often found it too dangerous to punch in the relatively lengthy stratagem codes while under attack by Voteless. They did find these quite useful, however, against Harvesters. One shot can destroy a shield, while between 1 and 2 shots to the center of mass could reliably eliminate these tripod freaks of nature. The lack of a consistent support weapon also opened up space in Helldivers' loadouts to use what they could find throughout their environment. Operatives gladly used these support weapons, and especially when finding a machine gun, they expressed how much they wished this was the tool they had been given, as it filled a major gap in their loadout. Another stratagem our operatives expressed disappointment in was the shield generator relay. While it did prove useful when defending against Harvesters, Overseers and Voteless simply just run through the barrier. One unforeseen use of the relay, however, was as a decoy target for Voteless. They would often blindly rush the relay itself, allowing a grenade thrown into the crowd to rapidly dispatch of a horde at the expense of the device. One stratagem all operatives gladly took with them, however, was the Eagle Strafing Run. The rapid call-in time and simple stratagem code made it useful in several scenarios, along with its ability to take down an Illuminate shield in a singular burst, opening up targets for use of explosives. Lastly, Helldivers had no strong opinions on their armor. They found that it protected them well while not overly restricting their movement, and they found it confidence-inspiring, though the life-saving measures of this armor never seem to trigger according to our footage review. From a statistical standpoint, our operatives managed the following averages over the course of their 6 missions. An average kill count of 282, and an accuracy of 51.65%. On average, approximately 1 of our operatives was eliminated during these missions, while on average, 1 friendly fire incident occurred per mission. The Division would like to note that it seems a number of our operatives were part of an additional test from the Science Council unbeknownst to our testing staff. This test revolved around replacing a Helldiver's frontal lobe with that of a chimpanzee, which unfortunately appears to have been the cause of a number of these friendly fire incidents. These averages are all either slightly below or just on par with our division's averages for Illuminate missions. Let us conclude this report by going through this loadout's EES score. In regards to operator enjoyment, this loadout has been given a 6 out of 10. Our Helldivers expressed interest in the unique fighting style provided by these weapons, though they would vastly prefer a different support weapon and possibly the use of a standard AR-23 Guard Dog configuration. As for effectiveness, a score of 5 has been given, with the same general detractions listed by our analysts as were applied to the enjoyment score. Finally, in regards to synergy, this loadout scored an 8 out of 10. While the rover did prove to be slightly harmful to friendly operatives on occasion, this did not greatly detract from the degree of help our operators were able to provide their teams by focusing on overseers and watchers before they could become too great of a threat. That leaves this loadout with an ease score of 19 out of 30. In conclusion, the Division would recommend this loadout, though our analysts would suggest selecting a different support weapon, such as the M105 Stalwart. This has been the second public report from the Super Earth Equipment Testing Division. Until next time, dive well, and long live democracy.